Hello folks, this is Sullla once again. Welcome to another video for League of Legends. This time we're going to be looking at a bottom lane pairing of Lucian and Lulu. I did a video on Lucian when he came out. I wasn't 100% satisfied with that, so I wanted to go back and look at Lucian again in a little bit more detail. This is taken from another one of these high elo solo queue games. And for whatever reason, this game seems to have nearly the entirety of Cloud9's team in it. We actually have the dual lane pairing of Sneaky and Lemon Nation, who are going to be our bottom lane pairing of Lucian and Lulu. We also have Cloud9's Balls on the same team, and then Cloud9's High on the other team, playing as Vayne in this one. So this is like the Cloud9 intra-squad scrimmage for this particular game. I don't really know how that happened. I believe that Sneaky and Lemon were duo queuing. And for whatever reason, this replay service where I get these from, often the replays don't start at the beginning, and I have no idea why, but you can immediately set them back to the beginning, and everything goes right back to normal. I have no idea why that is, but in any case, just ignore that, and we'll just pick this up at the beginning and go on from there. So Lucian, as I mentioned, Lucian, one of the newer champions. What is it? We had Jinx, and then before Jinx was Lucian, and there hasn't been too much competitive play going on right now because we're sort of in between Season 3 and Season 4 as I'm recording this. That said, the competitive play that is going on has been using Lucian quite a bit, actually. He's been pretty popular in the Challenger circuit, or whatever the league is that's just below the LCS, has been using Lucian quite a bit, and using him with a fair amount of success. So Lucian has been pretty popular as sort of a very, very mobile AD carry, someone who focuses on sort of precise movements, precise skill shots. Well, maybe not precise skill shots. He does have two skill shots, but just I mean, the closest comparison really is to Vayne in a lot of ways. Has really good ability to move around the map, and I don't know what Keith McBrief is doing here, the jungle Jarvan player. Looked like he was going in to commit suicide at a tower or something. Oh, apparently it was lag. Now, anyway, so the reason why we're looking at Lucian and Lulu is they actually make for a pretty good pairing together. These are two champions that do seem to have pretty good synergy, and I've seen them being played together a number of times before. Obviously not the only champion, not the only support that can be paired with Lucian, and who knows what's going to happen when Season 4 rolls around and everything changes. But for right now, seems to be a pretty good pairing. Basically, Lucian is very good at chasing. Lucian has very good mobility, and Lulu complements that pretty well. Lucian is not going to 100-0 someone. He is not like a burst AD. He is more of a harasser over time. Lulu allows Lucian to continue, can slow people down, polymorphs them, has the shield to, but basically just adds a lot of utility, further utility to Lucian's kit, and they seem to complement each other pretty well. Anyway, so what we actually have in this game is we actually have a 2v1 situation. The red team actually opted to 2v1 to put Vayne and Janna up in top lane, and then just have their Lissandra player, Zamfir, who's also in the competitive scene but not in the LCS, have their Lissandra player down here in the 1v2 lane. So interesting decision, and the best logic is probably that they just wanted Jax to be 1v2. Jax is sort of infamous for being a very weak 1v2 pick. Look at this, we've actually got a gank coming up here in top lane, but it looks like it's going to be avoided without too much difficulty. Anyway, so let's keep the focus down here for right now, even though there's not all that much going on because it is a 2v1 lane. I'll go through, again, I did a Lucian video before, but I don't know if everybody saw that or was too familiar with it. I'll go through and highlight some of the skills, talk about what makes this champion tick, basically, because he's still pretty new. Alright. We'll go ahead and highlight the passive. Lucian has a pretty interesting passive here. It's one of the, I wouldn't say it's necessarily that strong, but it is very, very noticeable when playing. After every completed spellcast, Lucian's next basic attack will be a double shot. You can see, deals damage to enemy champions and structures and applies on-hit effects. Minions and monsters take full damage from the second shot. So anytime you use an ability, you get a second shot. You see it right here. There's the double shot because Sneaky used his Q right there. Again, I wouldn't say it's overpowered by any means, but it does noticeably increase your damage, and as a Lucian player, you want to try to keep this in mind. You want to try to, use your Q, then auto-attack, use your W, then auto-attack, use your E, then auto-attack, so that you can get that double shot as often as possible. Also, it does give Lucian some additional wave-clearing power. He's actually pretty good at pushing lanes and wave-clearing. That's another thing that people have really liked on him. Anyway, this obviously goes along with his Q. This is sort of his bread and butter harassment skill. Piercing Light, 65 mana, 8-second cooldown. Shoots a bolt of Piercing Light through an enemy unit. Damages enemies in a line for, you can see the damage. Plus, it scales off of bonus attack damage. Only deals 75% damage to minions. It's kind of unusual because you would think when you see this, it's a straight line skill shot. You'd think that this would be just point and click, but it actually needs to have a target. You can't just fire this anywhere. It has to go onto a target, which is kind of weird. I played Lucian for the first time in a bot game, and I was like, why can't I use this Q? You know, because you're just thinking you can click on sort of empty air and fire it, but no, you can't do that. You have to click on a target to do this. So it's kind of a weird combination of a skill shot and an aimed shot. You need to have a target, but then it goes in a straight line off of that. Anyway, very good for wave clearing. Right there, you see the piercing light right there. It triggers Lucian's passive, and scales off of bonus attack damage. Not off of total attack damage, off of bonus attack damage. When I talk about itemization, you'll see this is why Lucian players have been heavily favoring Bloodthirster in the most recent patch, because that allows them to take advantage of that bonus AD scaling, since Bloodthirster gives you up to 100 bonus AD. Takes use of that. So anyway, there it is. As I said, good for wave clearing. Just a general all-around useful skill. Very good harassment, low cooldown, doesn't cost much in the way of mana. Yeah, it goes down with more points in the skill too, so I believe it goes down to only 5-second cooldown at max rank with 5 points in the skill. But yeah, so low cooldown, pretty good damage, relatively easy to use, good for wave clearing. Pretty much his bread and butter skill is the one that you'll use the most often as Lucian. Anyway, one thing that the 2v1 lane does in top is it opens you up to Stealing Dragon. So the red team right now is going after Jax, and you can see they're trying to pick off this kill. Is Jax going to be able to get this one? No, he's not able to. So 3v1 gets the kill in top lane. Jax is actually 0-2 on the game now, but that gives up a free dragon to the blue team, and that's why the overall gold total is pretty close. Blue team's got a tower and a dragon. Even though they're down 3-0 in kills, that equals out to a pretty even game score overall. And Janna actually almost got killed up there in top lane. I think that she tanked a tower shot or something. And so anyway, blue team is now rotating their duo lane, their Lucian and their Lulu support up there to top lane. Alright, so other skills here. W, Lucian players typically max this second. Ardent Blaze, 60 mana, 14-second cooldown. Fires a shot that explodes on enemy contact or reaching the end of its path. Deals magic damage, marks enemies for 6 seconds. Then damaging marked targets grants Lucian 40 movement speed for 2 seconds. So this actually is a skill shot. You point and click, and it shoots out a little sort of cross-shaped skill shot, and anything it hits takes magic damage and is marked. Then any marked targets that are hit by Ardent Blaze, damaging them with anything else, whether that's a Q, whether that's an auto attack, gives Lucian bonus movement speed. So this is why he's very good at chasing targets, is due to the way his W works. And of course, W will also proc his passive, so you'll get that Light Slinger double shot when you use the W. This, of course, also complements his E, Relentless Pursuit, dashes a slow distance, and removes all slow effects. Now, notice that it is on a fairly long cooldown. 18 seconds is pretty long, but you know, dashes, gap closers on AD carries are always very, very good. And it removes all slowing effects as well, which is quite nice. Also, if Lucian kills an enemy while his ult is active, then the cooldown of Relentless Pursuit is reset, and that's a pretty big deal. Anyway, we have a Fiddlesticks gank coming in. The Fear came out. Sneaky flashed away. He is going to get bursted down under the tower. Falls to Fiddlesticks right there. Pumpkinhead Fiddlesticks with a nice play right there. So, even though Lucian does have pretty good escapability when his E is up, and due to the way that he's able to chase after people with his W, he, of course, as an AD carry, or a marksman, as Riot wants to call them now, is still inherently very fragile, and will get bursted down pretty quickly. In the build right here, you're seeing Doran's Blade into a BF Sword, and I'm assuming Sneaky picked up Boots just because he didn't have anything else to didn't have enough gold for anything else right there, since he had recently backed. Anyway, then we'll finally discuss the ultimate here. The ultimate is the culling. Lucian moves freely while firing in a rapid direction for 3 seconds. His shots collide, deal physical damage, total number of shot scales with attack speed, does a lot of bonus damage to minions. Basically, this attack doesn't really deal that much damage, but the bonus effect is you can still move while using it. It's sort of the big thing. Anyway, there is the Ardent Blaze, and then the Light Slinger passive is going to help finish that one off. Sneaky doesn't get the kill, goes over to Balls, his Cloud9 teammate, using TF ult to port into top lane. And we did not get to see the culling there, but I believe we see it later on in this game. It would be pretty silly if we don't. So anyway, looks really neat, doesn't really do that much damage. The basic thing is you can basically kite backwards while firing the ult, and you'll still be dealing damage even as you're running away. That's basically the idea. behind this. It's not the best ultimate. It's actually fairly weak as ultimates go. It's not all that useful. In mid, we got another Fiddlesticks Crowstorm ult coming in. We also saw Ziggs ult flying out, but wasn't enough to get the kill there as Jarvan and Jax roamed into the lane to stop that. And top tower went down as well. The one other thing I will mention about the ultimate with the culling is that you can cancel this early. You can react, you can hit R again to cancel this early, and oftentimes you do want to cancel this early because it kind of locks you facing in one direction. It can be a little bit weird. So yes, remember you can cancel this early. You can use his E, his Relentless Pursuit, during his ult, and if you get a kill with his ult running, the cooldown on his E, his Relentless Pursuit, is reset. So that's important to keep in mind. Anyway, you can see hopefully how this works, that Lucian's very good at chasing people down, has good mobility for an AD carry, but his overall damage is slightly on the low side. He's a little bit lower on damage. He's more sort of an Ezreal or Vayne type champion where you don't have high burst or anything like that. It's more about mobility and positioning yourself correctly. Aesthetically, he's also a pretty neat champion to play. Just the way he's animated, I think, looks pretty good. I was a little bit worried about whether this was a good fit aesthetically as a champion because, you know, a champion that uses like 2 pistols, not necessarily something that would fit in like a fantasy-themed game, but seems to work out okay, and people seem pretty happy with Lucian overall. He was a little weak on release. He's been buffed since then. Seems to be a pretty good fit. People are playing him competitively, so he must be pretty good. Now, again, why pair with Lulu? Well, a lot of Lulu's stuff seems to complement Lucian fairly well. In particular, the use of the Glitter Lance slow, really useful because then it sets up chasing power on Lucian, who's very good at chasing. And of course, the Whimsy Polymorph, you can either speed Lucian up further, or if someone tries to all-in him, you polymorph him. You know, Fiddlesticks jumps in with his ult running, and you use polymorph. Anyway, we actually have a fight running right here. Exhaust coming out on both sides. Fiddlesticks using his Crowstorm. There is the Lulu ult to try and add a little extra survivability, and that actually is enough to make a big difference, because even though Sneaky dies, he does get a kill before he goes down. Ziggs ult flying in from mid lane. Pool Party Ziggs, not enough to pick up that kill. But that Wild Growth was actually well used because it allowed Sneaky to get the kill on High's Vayne. Just got off a Piercing Light, got off a Q right as that death happened. And right here, Balls gets ignited. Lulu's shield, not enough. Lemon only has 1 point in that Lulu's shield, not enough to block the ignite damage. And red team is actually, you know, grabbing some map presence back. Got that tower on top, looking to get a second tower here. It's actually a pretty good game right now, which is one of the reasons why I picked this replay to look at this particular champion combination. Very close game overall right now. Sneaky's revived, coming back into lane. Got Janna quite low, but Janna's got very good escapability. Not going to be able to finish that one off. And, you know, like I said, we've got a game on our hands. Dragons respawning, and we'll see where we go from there. Anyway, in terms of building Lucian, in terms of skilling this champ, it's pretty straightforward. His Q is pretty clearly the skill that you want to max first. So max Q first, W second, and then 1 point really is all that you need in E. I believe that more points lower the cooldown, but in most situations that's not all that's necessary. Anyway, so blue team picks up Dragon. That's going to basically equal this game back up in terms of overall gold score. And then it looks like we might see a fight here. Right there, Balls gets condemned into the wall by High. Very nice play right there. And High's going for this, obviously reasons he can't get out, but indeed he can't get out. With obviously reasons he wasn't going to be able to escape. But right there, Ziggs comes in and finishes off Twisted Fate with another use of those bouncing bombs. And probably he's actually 3-0-0 on the game right now, and off to a good start in this particular one. Still very close in the game overall. Only, what, like 500 gold separating these teams. And we'll continue to keep the focus on Lucian and Lulu, although right now Lemon's just roaming the map. And is he going to interrupt this recall? Yeah, scumbag Lemon interrupting that recall. Right there, though, you see the wave clear potential of that Q. What is it? The light, piercing light is what it's called. And right here, we're actually going to have a duel between Ziggs and Lucian. So right there, going to use the E to dash out of the pool party Ziggs ult. Right there, gets off another Q, and the E is going to finish that one off. Meanwhile, in comes Janna, and oh, we're going to have a Janna versus Lucian duel? Wow, this is going to be fun. Another Q hits, and Janna, looks like you're not winning this, but hey, Fiddlesticks is here, and that fear is pretty good. So that's going to end up being a 1-for-1 overall. Ziggs getting the assist. So a little bit of action up there in the top. They probably needed Lulu to be there, but Lulu was helping out in mid. So it ends up being a 1-for-1, and the game's still very close overall. In terms of the items picked up, note that Bloodthirster has now been finished. And again, I mentioned the reason why that the reason why people are favoring Bloodthirster is because of the way it interacts with his Q, because it scales off of bonus attack damage and not total attack damage, leads people to go towards an item like Bloodthirster. And of course, Lucian does not have tremendous range, so the extra lifesteal is helpful for survivability as well. Back when Lucian first came out, a lot of people rushed Trinity on him. You don't see people rushing Trinity as much anymore. That's largely due to the fact that Trinity Force was changed. They changed it so you only get half of the phage bonus movement speed if you are ranged. So, you know, Trinity was a little overpowered for ranged carries, and they changed that, so that's one of the reasons why you don't see Trinity bought as much as it was before. Alright, so what do we have? We've got some action going on in the bottom lane. Support's clearing wards. Oh, Uncle Scamp's Cabin, he's failing the Scar ward. Oh, it's so hard to place. Hardest ward in the game to place. Yeah, wasn't able to get... Oh, nope, still missing the wards. That's 3 wards down. That's so sad. That is the most difficult ward in the game to place. The ward in this brush from over the Dragon Wall. Supposedly it's going to be easier to place in Season 4 because they are changing the range right there. Changing the range or something like that. Anyway, this fight, Jax gets a kill in bottom lane. Here comes TF in. Is it going to be enough to save Jax down here? Is it going to be enough to save the Jarvan player as well? Out comes the Ziggs ultimate, not going to hit right there. Jarvan needs to interrupt this. Are they going to get the kill on Fiddlesticks? Yes, they are. Jano Monsoon coming out. Is this going to be enough to get a kill? No, and actually that fight got turned around with blinking red health bars everywhere. There's also another fight up here in top lane. More of that Cloud9 versus Cloud9 grudge match, as Sneaky and High continuing to go at it right there. Got the better of that particular fight on High, and High is actually very low. Sneaky even has his flash up, but apparently doesn't want to try to flash after that for a kill. Wouldn't work out because High has his own flash and his barrier both up, so wouldn't work out. And it looks like they're just happy to push this tower and look to try to get this in top lane as well. And there's actually still nobody up here. Right there, oh, the E dash going over the wall now. Sneaky's going to get condemned. Let's see, is High going to be able to finish this off? No. Sneaky's going to flash away. And get a recall on Lemon Nation's Lulu out of the little brush in top lane. So no further kills in that top lane. Overall, though, another tower down in top. It's now 3-3 in towers. It's 9-6 overall in the game. And team separated by just 500 gold. Very close game. Which is one of the reasons why I picked this one, since it's still very much open to either team. Let's check out the gold totals right here in the AD versus AD matchup. Lucian is ahead of Vayne by about 1,000 gold. Mid's pretty much even, jungle's pretty much even, top lane's pretty much even. So there's just not much difference in the game overall. It's pretty even just about everywhere between the respective roles on either team. Next item that came out, we see that Sneaky has picked up Zeal, and he is actually building this into Phantom Dancer, doing a standard AD build, not a Trinity AD build. Mid, we've got another fight going on, 3v3 in mid, more people potentially coming in. TF does not have his ult up, but will be up shortly. And it looks like both teams just doing the mid lane standoff right now, with no further action on this one. So we've got Lucian against Vayne in top lane. There is the Q. See the damage. Damage is pretty respectable. Took out maybe 20% of High's life bar. He'll of course be able to lifesteal that back up with his Blade of the Ruined King. But good harass. And it's not the easiest. It is dodgeable. The Q is dodgeable, but not the easiest thing to do. And right here you see more of the wave clear potential coming out. High runs into Lemon Nation. Out comes the TF ultimate. That's a nice slow from Lemon. High's going to have to flash away. And now we've got Jarvan coming in. There's the knockup. Gold card times out. The culling comes out. There it is. I believe that's the first time we've seen the Lucian ultimate. And that's going to be enough to pick up the kill. Vayne, it looked like it was a 1v1 initially, but in comes TF, in comes Jarvan, and, well, that's what TF does. Meanwhile, here we got another fight starting in mid. Right there, Lissandra ult coming out. Is that going to be enough to set up the Ziggs ultimate? Yes, it is, dealing very good damage. And Jarvan's going to fall to that Lissandra E, her, what is it, her Arctic Assault? No, Glacial Path. Which one am I thinking of? Never mind, I must be thinking, I'm thinking of one of Sejuani's skills right there. Anyway, surprise, here's Fiddlesticks jumping in. That's going to be enough to lock up Jax. Actually, no, he gets the Lulu ultimate, gets Whimsied, or excuse me, Wild Growth up in the air. And now we've got all kinds of damage taking place. TF picking up a double kill. Lemon somehow surviving that, not even sure how. Did use his summoner heal in that battle. And can Balls pick up another kill? No, but in comes Sneaky on the cleanup duty. Going to pick up one kill and just needs one more auto. There he is. So on the, as I said, on cleanup duty, the Lucian and his janitor role right there, grabbing a couple kills. And overall, I feel like that came out in favor of blue team, not by a lot, but you know, now they have extended their lead a little bit. Dragon's also up. You saw the pings for that, but they should be able to get mid tower and dragon off of that. A very confused fight overall. A lot of deaths on all sides there, but blue team played that really well underneath the tower. Some really good Lulu play from Lemon Nation. And you know, that was just enough to keep Jax alive long enough so he could get off his E, his counter strike, and force the red team to tank a lot of tower shots, which was enough to swing a very close fight. Otherwise, it was even a good Fiddlesticks ult that came in over the wall, but ultimately not enough. Too many tower shots tanked, and blue team really comes out ahead at the tail end of that fight when they got the mid tower, and they also picked up the dragon. So in the game overall, now it's open. Blue team's opened up about a 3,000 gold lead. It's still quite close overall. If you look at, again, which lanes are ahead, check the gold totals right here. Lucian is now about 2,000 gold ahead, so that's most of the advantage in this game. TF's about 1,000 gold ahead. Again, largely due to his passive stacking up bonus gold, but the other lanes are all still very, very even. So that's the advantage. It's in the AD role and a little bit on the mid role. Still very much anyone's game. I did say that he was that Sneaky was going for Phantom Ditch. I was wrong. He went for Static Shiv instead. Went for more of the pushing, split pushing, wave clearing item right there. And it looks like he's going for a Last Whisper. So this is a very standard AD build. Nothing too complicated here. Very standard for ranged ADs. And he is leaning a little bit more towards the wave clearer side of things. Now 5-3-1 on the game overall. And Lemon, our support Lulu, is just building support stuff. Again, hopefully we'll see more interesting item builds in Season 4, but Sight Stone, Mobility Boots, Philosopher's Stone. That's pretty much what every support has built in Season 3. And has a Doran Shield as well for extra survivability, which is a little bit odd, but you will see that on support sometimes. Alrighty, so what do we have? Well, we don't have a tremendous amount going on in the game right now. We've got Vayne split pushing in top and Jax split pushing in bottom for each of the respective teams. Other than that, there's not a terrible amount of action going on right now. At a bit of a standoff phase in the game right now. One amusing thing about the red team is because they went for a double ability power comp, because they have Lissandra in top and because they have Fiddlesticks in the jungle and then they have Ziggs in middle lane, they're extremely magic damage stacked, and they actually have double Zanya's hourglasses if you look at their items right there. If Ziggs goes and gets a Zanya's, they actually could have triple Zanya's hourglasses. It would be kind of amusing right now. Anyway, right there you see it in action in the bottom lane. It's not going to be enough to pick up that kill. Sneaky's going to get the Wild Growth Lulu ultimate once again. He's going to be ignited, but he should be able to make it out if Fiddlesticks can just get his fear, but no, he can't get his fear off. There's also a kill in top lane. There is the culling ultimate again. That's kind of its best use, is just to use it for running away while still dealing damage. A nice slow coming out from Lulu. Jax goes in. That's going to be enough to get one kill. Lulu actually picking it up. Is it going to be enough to get another kill? Not so sure about that. We still have this fight continuing. Sneaky's going to dash in, but that was probably one dash too far, as probably Ziggs is going to pick that one up and can probably finish this one off on Lemon. Where is Lemon? Oh, he doesn't have enough mana to use his shield, but oh, he's going to make it out anyway. So I believe that ended up being a 2-for-2 in bottom lane. What was going on there was a kill in top lane. Jarvan and TF were able to take down Vayne in the top lane, so they were able to get some more push in that lane. But overall, not too much changing. Blue team slightly further ahead. They're now 4,000 gold ahead as opposed to 3,000 gold ahead. But not that much changing overall. No big objectives taken as a result of all that. This tower did take a little bit of damage, but not too much overall changing in that one. And it's still a pretty good game overall. Lucian's now 6-4-2, has finished the Last Whisper, is pretty darn strong right now. You can see he has the armor penetration, 245 attack damage, and if you check out the scaling on Piercing Lights, that's pretty good damage for an ability on a 5-second cooldown. It's at about 400 damage on a 5-second cooldown. Good range. And as I've said a number of times, very good wave clear. So he's going to use it right here. Nope, not going to. And Sneaky will get his Bloodthirster stacks back up. But again, with his Static Shiv, with his Q, he can split push really well. And I've actually seen Lucian being used as a split pusher in competitive play. Again, very similar to how teams often have used Vayne. If you watch the North American LCS, think of how Counter Logic often uses Double Lift as a split pushing Vayne, that sort of thing. Teams have been using Lucian in kind of a similar role. And overall, they're somewhat similar as champions. In this game, actually using Jax as more of a split pusher on this particular team, which is what Jax also often does. Jax is nearly finishing his build. He's got Trinity, and he will have Blade of the Ruined King soon. Those are the 2 items Jax needs to be effective. But it looks like we might have a fight over this bottom tower. Right here, Lemon going to get engaged on by High, but he does not get condemned into the wall. That's going to be enough to escape this one. High getting knocked up in the air. That's trouble. Going to have to burn his flash to get out. And right there, saw Blade of the Ruined King used. Saw the ultimate of Vayne being used. We've got a Lysandra ult locking up members of the team. Now out comes the Zanyan Hourglass. Just watch Sneaky in the back. He is relatively safe. Now he's going to get feared by Fiddlesticks, and that is going to be trouble. Down goes TF. Down goes Lucian. That was a fight that got turned around in a hurry. Very, very good usage of the Fiddlesticks ult to flip that one around. The Lysandra ult came out and locked up one of the members of the team. Which one, I'm not 100% sure. I couldn't see which one it was, but used Lysandra ult to lock up one person. That then setting up Ziggs to get in his free harass. And it was a really good fight for Red Team. And at this point, they need to get something out of this, whether that's pushing mid. They probably should just push mid and take this tower, which they can get. One of the problems with solo queue is people often not all that organized, and they kind of haven't really done all that much with the fight that they just won. Now granted, yes, they want to fight deep in their own territory. They won the fight like here, which makes it hard to push, but you would like to get something more out of it, and I do think they could have gotten this mid tower if they just all grouped and shoved that. But instead kind of wasted that opportunity, didn't get much out of it. I don't think they could have Baroned off of that. It would have been difficult. In any case, though, they just get the bonus gold from ending killing sprees, getting deaths, that sort of thing. And they've closed it to within 3,000 gold, but weren't able to snowball that victory into a bigger edge. Notice what Sneaky is picking up now. I mentioned that the red team is very magic damage focused. He's picked up a Negatron, and this is surely building into a Quicksilver Sash. Desperately needs to get a Quicksilver to be able to cleanse either a Lysandra ult, the Lysandra, what is it, Frozen Tomb, or, probably more relevantly, to clear the Fiddlesticks. Clear the Fiddlesticks Sphere is Terrify. Really needs to be able to cleanse that, because that was the problem in the last fight. Fiddlesticks ulted in, he used his Fear, and then that was why that death occurred. Anyway, here we got another fight going on between the two teams. Watch, here comes Lucian in from the top, running his ult. That'll give him a cooldown on his E. We see the Ziggs ult coming out, smiley face on the balloon. Fiddlesticks using his Drain, but that's going to allow him to get locked up. Zanya's just coming out everywhere from both teams, and Sneaky is still alive, still not really being touched. Needs one more auto to finish off Fiddlesticks. He's not going to get it. Jarvan will. And we actually have right now a 2-for-2 between the teams, although blue team seems to be a little bit more beat up than red team right now. Yeah, so it actually turns into a 3-for-2, excuse me. We had 3 members of the red team going down, but they are a little bit healthier overall, and they can probably still look to push this just because they're in such good shape. Anyway, Sneaky life-stealing off the Wolves. That may allow him to get back into this fight and be able to hold this tower. So yes, red team choosing to back off. And by the way, probably Ziggs is 8-4 on the game. Probably's having an outstanding game for his team. And Ziggs, one of the things about Ziggs is he's relatively weak, kind of weak at the start of the game, but the longer the game goes on, the more he starts to scale. And oh, is Sneaky going to be able to interrupt this blue pill? No! Oh, wow, did you see that? Did you see that auto attack actually fly towards Lysandra? I guess it already went up there, but yeah, the auto attack actually went through into the fountain. Didn't do anything because Lysandra was already full health, but not quite able to interrupt that recall back to the fountain. And Sneaky looks like he's going to head back, and looks like he will probably have enough to pick up his own Quicksilver Sash and then be able to cleanse some of those, some of that crowd control coming in. Yes, there it is. There's the Quicksilver Sash, and this is an item that is rarely bought at low elo, but is bought very commonly at high elo. You know, that unique active removes all debuffs, 90-second cooldown. Extremely important when you're against someone like a Fiddlesticks. Very, very important to get that. The Jax player, hi, I'm a sheep. I don't know if I've even seen this player before, but this Jax player has the Jax core items, Blade of the Ruined King, Trinity Force. That's really all that Jax needs, and he is now a split-pushing monster, and red teams had to send Ziggs down here to try and deal with that. Meanwhile, in mid lane, looking still to push. Blue team's still ahead overall, but not by that much, by about 3,000 gold. It's a pretty good game. We've got Highs, Vayne split pushing in top. Really, it's likely to come down to one big team fight. Whoever can, you know, take a Baron or win a fight decisively. We haven't really had like an ace or anything like that in the game up to this point, but someone needs to win a big fight and then look to turn it either into a Baron or turn it into an inhibitor or something like that. But until that happens, we're still going to be in sort of this very close, stalemated situation. Note that Lemon has picked up an actual, actual item, has picked up the Shirelius Reverie. I guess that's grounds for criticism. That could have been like 25 more wards, but Shirelius is a great item and obviously very useful. We'll see if blue team uses it for the movement speed boost. Very useful, of course, for chasing. So again, another way that support items tend to complement someone like Lucian very well. What else do we have in here? Look at TF in terms of what he's picked up. Got the Zanyas, the Lichbane, and now the Abyssal Scepter. Again, in most situations, the Abyssal would not be a great item choice, but because this other team is so heavily magic damage focused, it actually does make a lot of sense to get that. As opposed to picking up a Void Staff would probably be a more typical item for TF. A Void Staff or a Death Cap would be more likely. Look at this support on support action. Lulu versus Janna. Who will win their duel? They both have oracles, of course, and the vision wars are ongoing, as we've seen for ages and ages now. Hopefully we will not have nearly as much of that in Season 4, because vision wars are not really all that interesting, to be perfectly honest. Alrighty, well, what are we looking at right now? Still close game, still just teams engaging back and forth, some harass being output on both sides. Wow, look at how much damage that Ziggs bomb did, and that was through the Lulu shield as well. Granted, there's only 1 point in the Lulu shield, but probably his bombs, look at that, bouncing bomb, yeah, deals about 500 damage, and is on a 3-second cooldown. So yeah, that Ziggs harass scales really well. Again, has 5 AP ratio, scales really well in the late game. Check out that damage on his ult too, 900 total, 900 damage. Anyway, right now though, Jax is split pushing bot, so someone on red team's gonna have to deal with that. Instead, they're gonna look to just go in and fight. So we'll slow this down and see what the fight turns into. Right here, the Lissandra ult's gonna be used on TF. We see the Ziggs ultimate coming out, but right there, TF's gonna get 1 kill. A really nice use of the Zanya's Hourglass right there. And now Janna ult comes out. Sneaky is going to try to dash in, gets his double shot off of his passive right there, or the Lightbringer. There is the W coming out. We have Vayne dueling against Jarvan elsewhere. There is the double hit, and we'll speed this up to regular time again. Probably is not going to go down, but can't really say the same for the rest of the team. That Zanya's out, or the Shirelias was just popped. Lemon flashing after Uncle Sam's cabin. Is he going to be able to get this kill? I don't know. He just needs a Glitter Lance. Yes, he gets it. That's support on support action. And meanwhile, while all this is going on, Jax did split push in bottom lane, did pick up a tower kill there. Is he going to die? No, he ward jumps to his ghostly ward, and that's going to try to open up this. No, probably coming back from the fountain, uses that bouncing bomb, but it's a tower down in bottom lane. It's a one-team fight. It's another tower down in mid, and it looks like blue team may have finally busted the gates open and achieved a decisive win in this very close game. Now they've got the inhib exposed right here, probably going in after Lemon Nation, going to use Wild Growth on himself. Out comes Lissandra, and Lissandra's going to go in, but there's the Quicksilver just cleansing the Lissandra W, the Frozen Tomb, or what is the Lissandra W? Anyway, looks like that fight is going to be over now, or maybe not. No, actually, Sneaky is still trying to steal the blue buff as he jumps out of here. There is a dash on his E as it comes back up again, so going to get that. They didn't quite get the inhibitor. We're not able to get that, but overall it was still a very successful fight for the blue team right there. And the Lissandra W is Ring of Frost. I'm sorry, I don't play Lissandra, so I should know her skills names, but I didn't know what that one was, her Ring of Frost. Yeah, so anyway, a good example of seeing the Quicksilver Sash in action right there. And otherwise, that was for sure a death for Sneaky, but managed to get out of that. And even has double buff right now off of one of the kills he picked up and off of getting that blue buff steal. So let's see what he's going to pick up here. Did he pick up anything at the fountain right there? He's got 3,000 gold. Okay, picked up a BF sword, and I'm assuming that that's for an Infinity Edge, but didn't have enough gold to get the Infinity Edge. In terms of the kills, it's very close, 22 to 22, but blue team's actually in quite good shape overall. That's because of the tower edge. 7 to 3 in towers is making up most of the difference, and this inhib is still very much up for grabs down there in bottom lane. We'll see. Looks like blue team is going to continue to have Jax split push in bot, and then the smart play would be probably to have the rest of the team pressure around Baron, because then they force the other team, the red team, into a very difficult decision. No one can really, very difficult for anyone to 1v1 against Jax, and then the rest of the team applies pressure around Baron. By the way, check out Lemon's word coverage. Lemon Nation's word coverage is very, very good. Word coverage from Uncle Sam's cabin, not so good. Although, to be fair, when you fall behind, it's really hard to get word coverage. Anyways, but here we've got a fight. They have to go check Baron because of the threat. Have to go check over here. So that's 1 kill taken down. Janna falls immediately. Now TF ult up is popped. and Hai is going to do his best to get away, but he's not going to escape. In comes Lissandra, and that's not really going to work out. There's the self-cast ult, but as soon as that wears off, and the Zhonya's, but that's going to wear off eventually, and down you go. Lucian picks up another kill, and now here is the chase from coming in from Lulu. Lemon applying the slow. Probably, oh no, he fails his satchel charge over the wall. Is he going to be able to make it out of here? There's the W, the Ardent Blaze coming in, the bonus movement speed, and Sneaky's going to pick it up. Going to grab that kill. Again, when he landed that W, that was enough to get it. And Jax is like, I'm going to jump on your head, Fiddlesticks. And that looks like it's going to be the end of this particular game because all blue team has to do is run into the base. They are wisely ignoring the mid lane. They don't need to do that. They've got minions here. Out comes the culling for some more wave clear, killing more minions. And they'll just hit the towers, and they should be able to finish this one off. Uncle Sam's cabin trying to come in, but Uncle Sam, this is a cabin of death. And I don't know if you're going to be able to make it back to the fountain. Yes, dodges the wild cards. Actually does survive. And that's going to be enough for this one. So, a well-played game. Really swung on just 2 fights. It was extremely close up until the 2 fights where blue team got the inhib down here in bottom lane. And then that last fight where they had cleared out all the vision around Baron. Again, they had Jax in bottom lane, applying pressure on split push. They cleared out all the vision around Baron. Red team had no choice. They had to come check for Baron, and then they jumped on Janna, and they jumped on Vayne and just killed them both. Like, that's pretty much what you do when you get ahead. Use the vision edge to your, play the vision game to your advantage, and then win off of that. But anyway, I wanted to get a chance to, as I said, showcase Lucian. I didn't think that I had done a good enough job with him. I think this was a better game of seeing Lucian, what his abilities do, and highlighting his strengths and weaknesses, and showing why he tends to complement with Lulu fairly well. We also got to see a lot of Cloud9 versus Cloud9 in this game for whatever reason. 4 of them in the same game. I wonder where Meteos is. He wasn't in this game. Anyway, if you want to see any particular players or teams in the professional scene, let me know, and I'll see if I can find video to them. If you want to see particular champions, feel free to request it in the comments, and I'll see and look what I can find. In any case, though, everything's likely to change in the next few weeks, so stick around, and we'll see what Season 4 brings. Until next time, have a good one. See you guys later.